Wow, huge developments. You know, I'd like to be able to just come up here and say, wonderful news, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump, dominated in Super Tuesday Part 2 in a big way, panicking the system. Rubio is clearly sinking the establishment candidate. We have seen a Cruz surge overall, clearly into second place. But the really big issue here is the Infowars.com posted article from the Daily Caller. It's also obviously in the Russian and British newspapers. Check it out for yourself. This is no joke. The Russian Foreign Ministry has sent a direct letter to Kim Jong-un and then publicly published it, saying it is unpermissible to threaten preemptive nuclear strikes on South Korea or anybody else. For those that don't know, Russia, for a small area, borders North Korea, and also on a large border, China. And even China, the Chinese Communist government, came out last week and had the strongest threats ever towards North Korea, who they've kind of controlled since the 1950s Korean War as a set piece. There is a nuclear trigger in the region. Obviously, we need to get Joel Skousen of World Affairs Brief on, who continues to warn that this will be the real trigger, that the Middle East is important but distractionary overall. But look, you could have Syria as a trigger now, you could have North Korea. Unprecedented to have that demonic, fat little, soft vampire rat. And look, I don't usually use names for people, but he deserves it. He is the ultimate example of trash. A third-generation hereditary dictator who grew up at a beyond five-star boarding school in Switzerland, who is so disconnected from reality he thinks Dennis Rodman is cool, who has most of his family executed and has people killed with mortars and artillery for his entertainment, who lives in a complete fantasy land with a bunch of starving scarecrows being forced to worship him as hundreds of thousands starve to death a year. This is your state. This is your feel the burn world. This is what socialism and communism and collectivism and fascism and all forms of centralization, command and control beget, is gangs and thugs and rule by insider cliques. And Russia is just so on target over and over again, telling the West, you move nuclear weapons up against our borders and threaten us and put proxy armies in, we're moving nukes in, and if it looks like you're about to use them on our troops, we're going to hit you. Okay? And then telling Turkey, if you mass wave attack us with artillery and with a large army you're forming of over 100,000 troops and mercenaries out of Saudi Arabia, we're going to use a tactical nuke on you. Now, that's classic legal tactics. If you're being invaded, if you're being hit by a large attack that you can't repulse, use a tactical nuclear weapon on it. The difference is, and that's U.S. policy as well, and it makes sense, it's mutually assured destruction basically at a tactical level, not just a ICBM intercontinental nation against nation level. But if you expand on that, and this is what's really important, North Korea is threatening to just nuke the capital of South Korea if they don't, quote, capitulate to a bunch of their demands. That's nuclear terrorism. That's holding people hostage, and it's a lot bigger than all the al-Qaeda threats they're constantly hyping to take our freedoms, even as the government gets caught shipping the al-Qaeda and ISIS threat in itself. Russia is threatening to invade North Korea. We're going to get to that in a moment. North Korea obviously has been threatening nuclear terror, holding the world hostage if they don't submit and give them what they want. Now, is our Pentagon saying or doing anything about that? No. They hope there's some big conflict, at least the presidential level, because that's a distraction for Barack Obama. This is the dangerous military climate we've gotten into. But North Korea, according to my research, many other experts like Joel Skousen, is the key trigger for World War III, or what the Pentagon calls World War IV. They call the Cold War World War III. Separately, there is a new report out, ladies and gentlemen. Pentagon admits military spy drones over the USA, and that's in USA Today. Again, the story's on drudgereport.com. and Infowars.com. We need the flashback articles from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, a year ago. Somebody should write an article of our great reporters. It ought to be Kurt Nimmo, probably. And it should just be Infowars, Drudge, proven right about military drones over the U.S. Remember all those articles 5 years ago and 3 years ago and 2 years ago saying Jones is insane, Kurt Nimmo's insane, Matt Drudge is lying, because Drudge would run our stories. There are no military drones over the U.S. And they would write these articles in USA Today, of all places, did it. It was in columns all over the country. It was a big push several times. We could pull the articles up saying we were lying about drones and that it was a conspiracy theory. Kind of like we were lying about the NSA spying on you or Obamacare, being a huge ripoff, which everybody knows it is now. They'd say, it's a conspiracy. There are no taxes in it. It's a conspiracy. It doesn't fine you. And then the Supreme Court ruled it's a tax and it does fine you. It was in the stinking bill. They just hope you don't go read. It was in local newspapers in the Dakotas and in Texas and all over that they had Predator drones assigned to Homeland Security under Pentagon control and CIA control. They have two different fleets, watching farmers in Colorado and Texas and South Dakota and going after, quote, cattle rustlers. Remember, the cattle kept coming over on the property under state law in that state. You could take them at that point because the neighbors were just letting their cows be on their property. You can't do that. I mean, we've taken cows on our ranch, and we've had some ours about 20-something years ago taken the third time they went over in a guy's yard. Now, my grandfather didn't like the neighbor too much after that. But still, that's the law. He got to keep some of his cows, including his prize bull that broke through the fence to go after his cows. So they used Predator drones on that. And then we were just linking to the local articles. That's what's crazy. We weren't breaking it ourselves. It's like the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp or the Emergency Centers Establishment Act that Obama put in saying for patriots that they believe an uprising's coming, quote, re-education camps. Just type in Army Manual Admits Preparation for Internment Camps. They use the word re-education camp, how to process our Social Security numbers. I expect when I cover this next article that they'll probably have a Media Matters article out saying saying nuclear war is about to happen. No, I'm not saying it. Daily Caller is reporting on the Russian newspapers and the British newspapers. Again, they just hope you don't check reality. Russia threatens invasion of North Korea. If nuclear rhetoric continues, the warning was issued in the form of a written statement from the Russian Foreign Ministry. Because North Korea keeps threatening to nuke the capital of South Korea that's got like more than 10 million people in it, but Seoul, that's only like 35 miles from the border. If they don't capitulate and just let North Korea have their money, have their trade routes, and just follow what this little goblin-like collectivist rat. I mean, look at the communism. Another hereditary dictator ruling over everyone and vampirically, literally having sex slaves and a 7-story pleasure palace that his dad built and weird giant pyramid buildings that they can't even put windows in. This is what communism and collectivism, but don't worry, lots of uniforms, lots of big hats, lots of medals, lots of checkpoints, lots of spies. This is the conquest parasite economy we're fighting against. This is a parasite economy, a conquest economy versus a Renaissance, free will, truth economy. And I see America with social justice warriors and all the political correctness where there's all these losers and nobodies that want to get together in gangs. Literally stupid scum. I mean, they're everywhere. It's white, black, Hispanic, everybody. It's all these victimology. And then they get around and they lie. They get together and they steal. They get together and they create all these huge frauds together. And they try to get in positions of power to then leech off everyone. And this paradigm has happened time and time and time again in history. And we are racing towards it. But they want us all fighting with each other low level. The technocrats that control the future prediction technologies of Google and all the super science medical advancements and the super weapons, they are breakaway now. They're just figuring out how to dumb us down, get us in on distraction, get us drugged up, and just phase out the generation. The soft kill's begun. They're upping the sterilants in the water, the food. They're upping the vaccines. They're upping the glyphosates. You see all the cancer rates, all the fertility rates. Fertility down, cancer up, everything else up, diabetes up. I'm not being alarmist. This is a eugenics plan. And people warned about Hitler in 33, 35, 38. People didn't believe about Hitler till 44. It was a conspiracy theory that he was killing people inside Germany. It was a conspiracy theory that Stalin had killed 20-something million people, but by the 60s we knew, in the 50s we knew. My fellow InfoWarriors, I am very excited to be able to announce to you the introduction at InfoWarsLife.com of a new way to save time and money when you stock up on InfoWars Life formulations like Survival Shield X2 and Super Male Vitality. Just go to InfoWarsLife.com today, select your favorite product, click on Auto Ship before adding to cart, and choose how often you want us to send you another order. Every time you choose Auto Ship at InfoWarsLife.com, you get 10% off, and you won't have to worry about running out and having to reorder next time. And of course, you can cancel with one click anytime. As you know, I'm all about the idea of a 360 win, and the new auto ship feature at InfoWarsLife.com is a sure win for everybody. A win for liberty, a win for health, and a win when it comes to big savings. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today and save 10% on your next InfoWars Life order by selecting auto ship at checkout. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.